guys, we are back, and this time we have a familiar face joining us, Samantha Brown, who plays Acosta. Welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me. I see your guys' recap videos, and I love your channel, so I am excited to chat today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Yes.
I was actually going to say, I hope you haven't seen our videos because we aren't very...
We did talk some trash.
Yeah. We talked a lot of trash.
Yeah. But we love you. I mean, we think you're a great actor. We think you're a great actor.
Look, this is my job. I'm an actor. I've played worse characters, so it's all good. If anyone's talking about the show, that's a good thing. So we're fine.
Yeah. We are not easy on Acosta, so I apologize.
Okay, I understand.
But if you've watched any of our recaps, you also know that Elgin is my son, and I defend him like I'm his mother.
He's a sweet baby angel.
I know.
Really
so I do appreciate that Acosta was looking out for Elgin.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
So we are going to start off with a fun little 2-minute speed round. Let me just get my timer set up. These are all just really random, goofy questions. We never know what questions are going to come up.
Okay.
And it's a lot of fun. Reese Antoinette, she is currently our reigning champ. So,
meaning like she answers the most questions?
Yes.
Oh, so okay. So you use me fast. Okay.
So you'll have 2 minutes and you can pass. You can say pass on any of them.
Okay.
And
but like you probably get more points if you don't pass, right?
We do mark how many people pass on.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone is going to beat Reese. I mean,
How many did she get?
She got 17 and passed on 1.
Whoa. Okay. I'm going to do my best.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. How long can you hold your breath?
30 seconds.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
Yes.
Big dogs or small dogs?
Big, huge.
Would you want to live forever?
No. God, no.
Cake or pie?
Cake.
Have you ever double dipped at a party?
Yes, all the time. There's no other way.
What sound does a seal make?
Wait.
Favorite number?
21.
What type of milk do you put in your coffee?
Almond.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
If there is a spider in your house, do you kill it or set it free?
Kill it.
When people stand up for standing ovation, are you usually one of the earlier people to stand up or one of the later?
I do a medium.
When you fly on a plane, do you use a neck pillow?
No, I should.
If Voldemort offered you a hug, would you accept?
Yes.
Stale Sour Patch Kids or fresh circus peanuts?
Ooh, Sour Patch. Fuzzy peach too.
What's for dinner tonight?
Leftovers of something that's expired.
Have you ever been to Africa?
No, but I would love to go.
You just became a member of the Spice Girls. What is your spice name?
I'm Baby Spice 2.0.
How do you feel about cranberries?
Give or take, indifference.
For journaling, paper or computer?
Paper.
Most embarrassing store you might be seen shopping at?
Store?
Yes.
Oh, none. Like, I shop everywhere. I don't care.
What's your middle name?
Anne. No E.
Favorite city?
Toronto.
Would you rather come face to face with a miniature hippo or a giant cockroach? Both are in a bad mood.
Oh, hippo.
Time. Wow.
Killed it.
Yes.
You did. Oh my God, Samantha.
What?
You got 26.
Yeah. Blew it out of the water. I was counting. None skipped.
Thank God I'm wearing pants. I forgot.
Woo!
Wow.
You understood the assignment.
I'm a chatterbox.
Not everyone does.
So you are an ambassador for Second Harvest.
Yes.
So tell us a little about that.
Yeah, so Second Harvest is Canada's largest food rescue organization. And so they basically take surplus of food that they can find instead of going into a landfill, and they basically get it into the hands of the people that need it. And the reason why I got involved is I learned that 1 in 4 Canadians don't know where their next meal is coming from. And almost 50% of all food produced in Canada goes into a landfill. And so there are two issues that they're trying to fix that go hand in hand with each other. And so I was asked to be an ambassador along with a bunch of other people across the country. We have artists and business leaders and chefs and athletes. And the campaign starts on May 26th. So we basically go live on the internet and just try to get the issues and the information out there for people to be informed. And it's just a race to rescue as much food as we possibly can and get it into the hands of people that need it the most.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we have set up a fundraiser to run alongside this interview. If you guys scan the QR code in the corner of your screen, you will be taken to the fundraising page. And you'll see some rewards there too. If you donate a certain amount, you can co-host an episode with us. You can choose our next deep dive, all kinds of stuff. So if you have the means, please scan that QR code and go to the donation link, and we would appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
So let's start in with our hard-hitting questions here.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. We're not gonna.
You can go. I'm ready for it.
So you've said that you were a huge From fan before joining the cast in season 3. What was it like to join an ensemble you were already so familiar with, and did entering the show as the season's heel, a character who was in opposition to the established favorites, a difficult role to fill?
Oh, great question. Yeah, so I was a big fan of the show before. My dad watched it and recommended it to me. And it was wild to go from watching these characters in your living room to then a couple months later, I live in Toronto and I get flown up to Halifax to film, and to just be literally dropped into the world of From. And it was my first time coming onto a series that was already established. So you kind of feel like the new kid at school. And you just want to do a good job. That's all you want to do, and sort of like try and attempt to match the level of talent that is already on the show, which is incredible. And my first scene, my first day on set was when Acosta is getting out of the ambulance with the paramedics, season 3, episode 4, and kind of like pulls her gun on the monsters. And there's that whole chase scene that happens. That was my very first time on set. So it was wild to kind of be thrown in, but it like, I was so nervous. I had so much anxiety going into it, but all of that just fed the scene, because what I was feeling as Samantha, I was just feeling that Acosta was feeling that as well. And then in terms of being the heel, I had no idea the direction that they would take the character. So all I knew when I signed up was that Nikki died on my hands, or on Acosta's hands. So I knew that. But we only get 2 episodes at a time. So, and we get them a couple of days before. We shoot in blocks. So each block is 2 episodes. So I had the episode where she enters the town, and then I had the episode where she approaches Boyd afterwards, really remorseful, and tries to help, and he kind of shuts her out. And so then I was kind of just waiting. Like, I had no idea what direction they would take her. And then I got the next 2 episodes where she kind of ransacks the sheriff's station and steps up to him. And I thought, okay, we are taking a turn here. And so I knew from the jump, like, Boyd is my favorite character. So I just knew from the jump what the reaction would be. So yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that just makes your performance that much more incredible to me.
Yeah. At the time, I have no idea what's happening. So you got to just roll with it.
No, that's super cool that Boyd's your favorite character, and you basically get to be his foil.
Yes.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, just kind of adding on to that, if there's one aspect of a show or a storyline in particular, or a character decision that you feel that fans kind of just aren't getting it the way you think that they should, or you would expect them to, what would you think that would be? Whether it's with Acosta or another storyline or character in the show?
I mean, I guess I'll just keep it to Acosta. Like, I feel like last season, and I totally understand why, people thought that like she wanted to like take over. Like, I heard a lot of like, this girl's coming in and, she's trying to be the boss of this town and be the sheriff of this town. And I always said, like, I never viewed it that way. I don't think the writers viewed it that way. Like, I'd always say she doesn't want to be the leader of this town. She doesn't even want to be in this town.
Yeah.
And so it's just a girl who's a rookie cop and is, new to the force, and just really trying to figure out the new dynamics. And she's holding on to what she believes is right and wrong in the real world. And like, I view Acosta as her whole identity is a police officer, which is like crazy, but that's how I view her. I view her as having like very little friends in her outside life. Her whole identity is wrapped up in being a police officer. And so it's interesting to play the arc of like, who are you when that is stripped away? Who are you when, a badge means nothing here? And I also feel like a lot of the other aspects to her this season, you will see, haven't been fleshed out yet, right? Like when Boyd makes these complicated decisions about, torturing Elgin to get information, we can balance that with all the beautiful things that we've seen Boyd do. Boyd is a wonderful father to his son. He has a beautiful friendship with Donna and Christy and Kenny. So we can kind of balance that. But I feel like with Acosta, we've only seen sort of one side to her, which is defensive and aggressive, when she feels like she's backed into a corner. So I'm excited this season for people to see other layers to her that I hope balance out.
Awesome.
Did you know when you were going into it, or were you given, or did you come up with an idea of why Acosta joined the police? Is that something you have in your head, or is that a spoiler and you can't see?
No, I mean, we are only given information on our character's backstory as we need it for the episodes. And so I had built a backstory for her of like, it's interesting, the scene of her and Kenny in the diner when he says, "Do you have any family?" And she says, "No." I viewed that always as a lie because I imagine, again, I always say that I don't want to speak for police officers. I'm not a police officer. I did research, but I'm in no position to speak for them. But I would imagine as a police officer, you don't want to reveal a lot about your personal life, especially when you're meeting people, because they can only use that against you. And since she doesn't trust anyone, I just viewed her telling Kenny like, "Nope, I don't have any family. You don't need to know that right now." And I always viewed her as having a very complicated relationship. I view her as like a control freak, right? Like she's got to be perfect. She thinks she's perfect, right? And so I just viewed that as coming from a place of maybe she wasn't loved enough at home. Maybe she came home with an A- and her parents are like, "Why wasn't it an A+? Not good enough. It's not good enough. You're not good enough. We don't love you enough." And then when she brings up her mom in the ambulance, to the viewers, maybe it's just an offhand comment, but I thought that was like a huge moment for her to even bring up her mom. And so I thought, she's alone here. She's truly alone. And so I think that was the first time in her Acosta way, she was sort of opening up to Christy in that moment, talking about her mom. I think that was a huge moment for her.
I think you actually portray really well the notion that you're holding something back. I think you do a really great job with portraying that, because that's what I get. That's, I get that she's not letting people see past this wall.
Yeah. And I think not that we forget, but so much happened in From. And she's not like she wasn't like a central character that the fans have loved from the beginning. Like she did kill someone, and we could debate for hours what she did entering From, right? But like she killed someone, she knows that. And like I can't even imagine what that would feel like. And so so much guilt, not being able to talk to anyone about it, just feeling shame and remorse and like an idiot, and all of that, like you said, like the frustration comes from somewhere. Like no one's just being an asshole for no reason, right? And so not that she's misunderstood, but I do think there's so much more to Acosta, but we will definitely see that as the season plays out.
Awesome.
I was going to ask you about that. Does Acosta carry a lot of guilt from Nikki's accidental death? Is it something that she dwells on, or is she like moved past that as a job collateral?
No, I think she carries that with her every day. Like I think that's at the basis of everything. And I think again, it goes back to like Acosta is a trained police officer, and they behave in certain situations differently than other people. Again, it goes back to those vulnerabilities. Like I think she has been trained to not let people see you be vulnerable. And even as a woman, like that's a whole nother conversation, but like don't let them see you. Yeah. don't let them see you sweat. Like keep it on the surface. Like don't break down. Don't be emotional. Like we all know that, right? And so I think that's what she's been trained to do. And she doesn't know these people. And she's like, I'm going to die here. Like she did try to come to Boyd. She was remorseful in that episode and he shut her out. I understand where she was coming from. I understand where he was coming from. But so then she's like, wow, I have no one in this town. My weapon has been taken from me. I have zero information. I am vulnerable. I'm a sitting duck, basically waiting to die. I'm homeless. She's now sleeping in the diner. So yeah, I think it looks like she's confident. It looks like she's egotistical and arrogant, but I think it's all a front. I think if she was alone and you had a little camera in the corner just watching her, I think she would break down.
Gotcha.
Well, you said that she was a control freak. Do you think that's the aspect of living in FROMville that she finds hardest to come to terms with? Is it the lack of control more than monsters that kill you in the night?
Yeah, 100%. I think Acosta is one of those people, and I think Boyd and especially Christy now realize it at the end of episode 2, is like she just needs to know what's going on. She needs to see things for herself. She needs information. She needs to be of service. She needs to be helping. And I understand how that can be annoying for some people, but then on the flip side, you can also you could just have a lazy character who's just like doing nothing and like smoking a J at Colony House, which is also probably fun. But like that's just a different personality type. So yeah, I think she wants to be in control because again, I would imagine as a police officer, like if you have control over a situation, then that situation is safer, right? Because you have control over this. If you don't have control over this, then what can happen next? We don't know. And so, yeah, it's such an interesting arc to play of like a character that is so rigid in her way of being. And then it's all stripped away from her.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, if you came into the show and we're just told your character's name and we're told you're going to create your own character, what kind of character do you want to be and what kind of storylines do you want to be involved in that are already existing, storylines that are already existing that you want to?
That's interesting. So like I like playing characters, I always say, that swear, have an attitude, and have a weapon. And that's Acosta. But yeah, I mean, Boyd, like I said, is my favorite character. I like characters obviously to like drive the plot forward. And I think mainly a lot of people will say like, what do you want for Acosta's story going forward and stuff? And I always say, like, I'm not concerned with playing a likable character. I just like playing a character that has an opinion. And so you don't, on a big ensemble show like this, you really don't want your character to just coast and do nothing, because then you really don't have much going on. And we have a really big cast and we all film in Halifax. We're relocated there. And so sometimes like if you don't really have much going on in terms of the story, like you're just kind of sitting there and it's really frustrating. I understand it as an actor, but our writers say it's kind of like a stovetop where there's front burners and back burners. And so sometimes your character's on the front burner, a lot's going on. Sometimes you're on the back burner. And so as long as my character for some of the episodes is like on that front burner, whether it's likable or not, like I'm game, because it means that I'm working and flexing my muscles.
Awesome. Jess?
Do you feel like Acosta's hostility towards Boyd is symbolic of the historically strained relationship between Black people, particularly Black men, and the police force in America, or is it more of a personal issue?
I think it's just a personal issue. I think it's generational in the sense, I was talking earlier today with someone about this in an interview where she's one of those people that I think doesn't just follow because this is the way it's always been. So I think maybe some people enter the town and they say like, oh, this person, whoever it is, male, female, old, young, is the leader of this town. So I'm just going to follow them. She's that person that's like, well, why? He just tortured someone. So like, is he still fit to lead? If you guys think he is, that's fine. But like, can we just talk about it? Should we have checks and balances? Like, because if he can torture Elgin whenever he wants, can he torture me? Can he torture you? Can we torture Boyd? So I think it's just like a fresh meat basically coming in and sort of challenging the way that the order has been in the town.
If Acosta was more relaxed when she came in and had a bit of an easier ride in, what qualities do you think she has that would bring out the best, that she could provide the most use in the town? Is it questioning things?
Yeah, I think, I was gonna say, alluding to what you just said, is like her sheer curiosity, right? Like obviously she's an incredible curious person, which we know that Jade is as well. And so unfortunately, I think she came into the town at like the worst time ever. It wasn't calm, stuff happened, a life was lost, and she now has a tumultuous relationship with Boyd, who carries all of this information. But I think, yeah, her curiosity is like such an asset, and just skills that a police officer would have in general, right? But yeah, I think definitely her curiosity, because I think too, like Jade, like she just would not stop until she figures out a way.
I loved the scene in season 3 where Acosta walks into the diner and Kenny's there, and it just like he's basically comparing Acosta to Jade.
Yeah.
But I thought that was so cool, and I'm like, I told Dawn and Jazz, I'm like, Kenny's basically the asshole whisperer.
That's so true. He is just like the calming force. He's always taking the new characters, even now with Sophia. He's so great. Yeah, that's a good point.
I love Kenny.
Yeah.
Jazz.
From likes to introduce characters that start off being very difficult to like and then give them a redemption arc. Season 1 was Sarah and Jade. Season 2 was Randall. After your arc in season 3, do you think Acosta will also receive that redemption arc?
Yeah, I think redemption's a tricky word, right? But I think she's a lot more fleshed out this season, especially in episode 3. You really do see a completely different side to her that I think will surprise a lot of people. It surprised me when I read the script, because at the end of episode 2, you kind of see it going one way, and then it kind of, not to reveal anything, but it's just a very sort of different side to her. And then from that point on, it kind of goes on a journey.
I really enjoy your journey that we've seen so far this season.
Redemption, because it's a tricky thing. It's like, could you really ever forgive someone for killing someone, regardless if it was accidental or not? Like, that's a whole debate. But like, I definitely am excited for people to see a different side to her, because we're all human. We're not perfect. Like, we all have different sides to us, and so it's kind of like a seesaw, right? So I think she definitely balances out this season for sure.
The dynamic between Acosta and Boyd is super interesting this season too. It's so interesting to me that Boyd has such hostility toward this character, yet he sees his wife when he looks at you. It's so interesting, and he like giving Acosta this task to go through the colony house basement, and like that kind of requires some trust in her. That she can actually do this without wasting her time or anybody else's, and actually
and use the information that she finds in a good, resourceful way. But I also, to add, I think that's a great point. And I think if you zoom out a little bit, there's so many differences with Boyd and Acosta, of course, but there are some similarities in terms of personality traits. And what I have found is one, in episode 1 this season, when Boyd's counting the bullets, right? And he says to Kenny, I want to make sure that if, stuff hits the fan, we all can make a choice of how we want to go out, right? And so that's what he's thinking. And then Acosta in episode 3, when she's asking for a bullet, that's her exact thought process, right? And then in episode 2, I think the scenes may have even been back to back, but when Jade kind of has all his work in the background, and he's telling Boyd what he believes knowledge at a cost means, right? And he's like, I'm working on it, I'm trying, and Boyd's like, try harder, basically, right? Do better, do more. And then it cuts to Acosta in the ambulance with Christy in her judgmental way, and she's like, you guys have tried, but do better, do more, do it again, do it better. And so it's right. And so I think there's a lot of similarities with their mentality of just never stopping, always striving for perfection. They just go about it very differently.
Yeah. No, that's good. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. aside from Boyd, who do you think that if Acosta had more of a quieter entrance, who would she bond with? Who would she be drawn to?
That's a good question. I think, Jade is an obvious answer, but I think actually Donna, I think she would gravitate towards the female leader of this town, and really talk to her about from the very beginning, right? And really come on board with Donna. And I always say I would if I back to the question previously of like, what would you also do if you were in From and could decide your storyline and stuff? I would like be the From historian. Like I would be going out and collecting and interviewing and getting as much information as possible about everyone, like down to your first date, your favorite color, and just collecting all of this information, trying to find the commonalities between everyone to figure out like why we're all here. So yeah, I think Donna. And then I also think just from a interesting like entertainment perspective, I always would want to see like Acosta and Randall like interact, because I think that would just be funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny because we actually we're really digging Randall right now, especially like his friendship with Julie. It's very like older brother kind of older brother, younger sister. But we in season 2, so we do an MVP and an LVP for every episode.
Okay.
And the LVP goes in the box. And so with Randall, we couldn't do that. We had to give him his own permanent box.
But he's out of the box now, no?
He's out of the box now. Yeah.
Acosta's out of the box.
Acosta, we have not given Acosta a permanent box. So,
Okay, there's hope, you guys. That's so funny. I love that.
She definitely hasn't reached Randall levels.
Yeah. So funny. Yeah, it's like whenever I see or someone like brings to my attention, like obviously like the Acosta and the ambulance situation stuff, I'm like, do we remember that Randall tied Donna to a tree?
Right?
Yeah.
That's what the thing with Acosta, I think, again, not that she's misunderstood, but like if you actually look at it, like she's really not trying to hurt anyone. Like she's not a villain. She's just making what you could argue dumb decisions or irrational decisions or emotional decisions, but she's really not trying to cause anyone pain or harm. You know? So
I have one to bounce off of that.
Okay.
I see Acosta as similar to Javert from Les Miserables. I don't know if you're familiar.
Can you refresh my memory?
He's the cop in the musical, and he's single. Like he's just doggedly pursuing the main character, even though he's innocent, because he just has this deep belief in his own morality being correct.
Okay.
And he feels like his opinion is unquestionable. Do you feel like Acosta's sense of morality influences her decisions, and are there any other characters in media or literature you would compare her to?
Ooh, that's tough. I don't know if I could compare her, honestly, just because her situation is like so extreme where she's in a world with monsters. But I think I was talking to someone recently, like as an example, when she's in the diner in episode 2, and I was going to call her Avery. Sarah, the character of Sarah, approaches her and Acosta's like rejecting her friend request, right? And it's like, we have to remember that we know that, because people are like, well, that's, an opportunity for Acosta to kind of open up to someone. It's like, well, no, she knows that Sarah took out Elgin's eye. And then the question was, well, does she know why? And like, back to your point about, your moral compass, like it doesn't matter to her why at that point, because it's so right and wrong. Like, if you're a police officer, like torture, it doesn't matter why. And so she's like, and that's why I think it's so frustrating for sure for the audience to watch, because yes, it matters why and from. It matters why and from. Sometimes maybe you have to torture people in from, but to her, it's like, no, it doesn't matter. Shouldn't do it. So yeah, it's just interesting that like her moral compass is like so strong. But then I do think over the course of the season, she starts to realize that like she really has to kind of let that go to survive. Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned about Acosta sleeping in the diner. That was a fantastic scene when the jukebox wakes her up. I love that scene.
It's trolling her, yeah.
Yeah. What do you have a song that you think that the jukebox should be playing for Acosta?
You know what? That the clown song I thought was perfect. But I always say like our writer John Griffin is such a great writer that it never really is what it is on the surface. And so of course you can look at that song and say, the entity is calling her a clown in that moment, but you always know it's deeper than that. And so I was looking up what Send in the Clowns means. And I've been telling this in all the interviews I've been doing is, I guess back in the day during theater performances, if something was going wrong on stage, they would send in a team of clowns to distract the audience from what was going wrong on stage. And these clowns would just make jokes and kind of do stupid stuff. And so that's where that came from. And that is exactly thematically like what is happening in episode 1 with the man in yellow is he is sending in Sophia to distract the town. And I think he even says something as he's transforming or right before he says getting her dress out. He says like, they're getting close or I can't have them figure it out. And now he is sending in a distraction. So I just think that song is perfect for like her in the moment of how she's feeling, but then also thematically what is literally happening in that episode.
Yeah. I love the way they use the jukebox throughout the show. It's just it adds such a layer to it.
Yeah,
it is.
And they played that, as an actor, for me personally, I love when like I can have as much of my environment there as possible. And so I asked them like, can you play the song and just like play it as loud as possible and don't tell me like when you're gonna play it. So there were some takes where I was waiting there for like a very, very long time and then it would just play. And originally it was written that she was supposed to destroy the entire kitchen in the back of the diner. Like she was supposed to just go crazy and like wreck everything. And reading it, I'm like, oh God, people are gonna hate her doing that. But as an actor, I'm like, that's amazing. I get to kind of do all this. But then I never talked to them about why, but they ended up changing it to like her finding a sweater and stuff like that. And I think it was much better that way, that you could see a little bit, or I tried to show a little bit of her emotion of like, now she is finally taking off of her uniform, which symbolically really is signifying to the audience that like she understands that she's here to stay.
I do have a question that I want to ask about something that kind of helped develop people's attitudes toward Acosta. So Acosta comes in the ambulance. Chaos is erupting. The monsters are out. They're out at night. And she hops out and Tabitha, my sweet baby Tabitha, who is like, I'm a total guard dog for Tabitha.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Leaves Tabitha and Henry basically confined in the ambulance.
Yes.
And people were very upset about that. But I heard a rumor, and so I'd like you to clarify this. Is it true that there was a scene cut where she goes back for them?
Yes, true. And by scene, it was the same scene. So it's also in my audition, but Acosta enters Colony House and, Donna is there and, she's exasperated and then sees that she makes the connection that her bullet went through the window and she sees the body, which is Nikki. And that scene continues as she's telling Donna, like, I was in an ambulance and there were people and Donna's trying to get information out of Acosta. And then she has this like, oh my God, I left them in the ambulance. And then she tries to walk outside the double doors of Colony House and they stop her from doing that because obviously she can't go back outside. And that was cut. And like probably for time or maybe to stir up, stuff with the character. But yeah, I remember when I was watching it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get shredded. Oh, now I'm used to it, but I
brutal.
remember. Yeah, so she did try to go back, and it was a light bulb moment, right? Like she's just like, and then like realizes. So yes,
honestly, that would change her reception of the character so much.
I know. Yeah, but thanks for bringing that up. So whoever watches this, she wanted to go back. Yeah.
Speaking of characters who are difficult to like, they tend to receive kind of rough treatment from the fandom. Like Jack Gleason or Lena Headey from Game of Thrones, when they're in, you're not a villain, but
yeah.
How was the fan response from the fandom been for you?
So I don't go on any of the, I've never been a Redditor, but I know that there's like a huge community on there. And I don't go on, so I'm sure I get slaughtered on there. I absolutely know that for a fact. But I would say that like in terms of I only have Instagram as a social media, and it's been so positive. I think maybe anyone that comes on like who is taking the time to look you up, it's most of the time because they like your performance or they're just, happy that you're on the show. So I haven't actually personally received any negativity personally. And yeah. And like, again, we're actors. Like I've been doing this a long time. I've played like diabolical characters that are literally terrible human beings. So like, this is just what we do. And I mean, if somebody can't separate like an actor from the character, like, I mean, that's like a problem for them,
Yeah.
not us. So yeah, it's all good. I mean, we always say like as long as people are talking about the show and engaging online, like I love it. We understand you guys talk a little shit about us. It's all good. Like I'm not a police officer from Maine, you know. Yeah, just living my life, you know. So I'm just excited to be a part of the FROMily. So yeah.
We've had a fan reach out to us and ask to come on our show to defend you, just so you know.
I love them.
Like crap we talk.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I think that's like, I was thinking about this the other day, like somebody was asking me, you know, is it hard to film scenes with Acosta if you don't agree with what she's doing? And I thought like, no, because I understand everything that she's doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't do it that way. And I'm sure a lot of the actors, I'm sure maybe Harold wouldn't bash in a kid's hand with a hammer, right? Like, but you just understand why your character is doing those things. Like I totally understand why she took the ambulance. Like I totally get it. Even though to the audience, you're like, what are you doing? But like to her, I'm surprised she didn't take it the day before. So yeah, as long as I understand her motivations, it's all good.
Gotcha.
Is there anybody that you haven't had scenes with yet that you're really longing to work with?
I would honestly say we do have a couple of like we're in scenes together, but it's not anything crazy. Is AJ who plays Randall. I just think that dynamic would be so funny watching two people who just literally speak their mind and don't give a shit about anything, like have a conversation or like a debate. I think that the two of them would be hysterical together and like accomplish things and nothing at the same time.
I can imagine they would be very sort of like brother and sisterly.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I can do it better than you.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah.
I can see them getting along really well, actually.
Yeah.
Like respecting each other's mentality, I think, in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then you can have a permanent box and the both of us can be in it. Just make the box.
You have a home.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
That's not the diner booth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys have anything else?
I have one. It's a little off topic, but
That's okay. Yeah.
you have a super brief appearance in my favorite episode of What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh.
And what was your experience like working on the set? I know it was a really tiny role, but your scene is one of my favorite sight gags in the entire show.
Yeah. So that show shoots in Toronto, and that's where I live. And I auditioned for, in that episode, there was like the main reporter woman.
Yeah.
It was like a much, and so I had auditioned for that. And she was reporting on a scene where I think like a fire hydrant or something exploded and there was like water everywhere. And so for the audition, I thought, wouldn't it be hilarious if I was wearing like a full reporter suit and then I went in my own shower and I just drenched myself with water. And then in my audition, I'm like trying to report, you know, there's like delays, right? So I'm just like, okay, John. Yeah. And like I'm like, my makeup is like everywhere, but like live. So I did this audition and then it went, I found out that it went to another, the actress who played that role. And then my agent had called me and she was like, yeah, the producers loved your tape so much that there's like this smaller weather woman role. It's like, she's barely on screen, but just to like have you on the set and like tell you that your audition was great. So yeah, I got to film it.
It's the funniest part of the episode.
Oh my
God. Really is.
Also the comedic talent on that show, like that show will be talked about and watched forever. Like those people are so like you'll just be on set and someone will be like, hi, how you doing? And I will burst out laughing just by the way they say it. Like it's, yeah, I'm so excited to talk to someone that watches that show, but yeah, it was a great experience. Yeah.
I have one last question for you.
Yeah.
So you're actually our first guest of the season. And we're like in the process of trying to line up some more interviews. So that said, is there a question that you would like us to ask a specific cast member that might troll them a little bit? But they would, but not in a mean way, obviously.
Well, I would say I wouldn't say it's a question. I would say it's a demand. And it would be, if you ever interview Harold Perrineau, is that Acosta wants her bullets back. Okay. She wants her bullets back. And she wants them now. Okay. And throw the blazer in. Throw the blazer in too.
Yeah. All right. That's great. Should we go to the debate, guys?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
All right. So we chose randomly before you came on who would be debating you.
Okay.
And Dawn won.
Dawn. Let's go, Dawn.
So what we will do is I'll set a timer for a minute.
Okay.
And let's have you go first.
Me?
Or actually, let's have Dawn go first.
Okay,
And
I'll go
then,
Okay.
and then we'll have you go second.
Am I representing Christy particularly, or just not Acosta?
Not Acosta.
Not Acosta.
Okay.
All right. You ready, Dawn?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Start.
There's been so many people in this town for so long that have tried so many different things and have failed, and as Christy says, end up dead. Learn from these people. Acosta should be listening to that. The most valuable thing you have in Acosta is people power. That's the only thing you have. Word of mouth, they hold the history in their minds, and so you have to rely on what they say. So Acosta should be taking note from them. Everything they've ever said has come true, has been true. So she knows that they're telling the truth, that there is no escape, that you can't leave in a car or an ambulance, and that they all are doing everything they can do in their own way to get out. And there's nothing that she can do that's different from anybody else. They've experienced this for hundreds of years. They know that now. Surely somebody would have come up with something.
Wow, very well done. Very
Thank
well
you.
spoken, Dawn.
Thank you.
All right,
Wonderful.
Samantha, you ready?
Yes.
Start.
Okay, Dawn. So you say that we should trust everyone in the town, but how can we trust everyone in the town when we know that the leader of the town is lying to everyone? He knows that his stepdaughter or that his daughter-in-law killed someone, and he's actually lying to the entire town about it and telling Elgin that he has to keep it a secret. So that trust is broken there. Also, if all of us, the four of us, are knocked unconscious and we wake up in a room and there's one door in the room and Kelly's eye is missing, Jazzy's hand is completely gone, and Dawn, you're the one with the hammer in your hand, and I'm like, hi guys, what's going on? You're like, oh, we're locked in this room. Sorry. And there's a door right there. And I said, did you try the door? And you're like, yeah, we tried it. It doesn't open. Should I not try the door myself? Does that mean that I'm better than you? No, you guys have tried the door, but I don't know if you tried it the way that I'm going to try it. Maybe I'm a little bit stronger. Maybe I have a new, fresh idea. So Acosta taking the ambulance is her trying the door. She doesn't know these people. She doesn't trust them. And they're also lying. So as far as I'm concerned, she should be doing that loop in that ambulance every day. She should wake up. She should get a coffee, have some pancakes at the diner, and do the loop every morning.
All right. Well, it's clear that you know your character very well. I'm going to give that to you.
Yeah. I was going to say the point about Boyd lying, I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I find that happens sometimes with a lot of the characters on the show, also Acosta, but which I love about the writing is like, I feel like when you watch the episode for the first time, you get like really upset about something, or you're like, that's crazy. I can't believe they did that. And then on a rewatch, or when you talk to people, they're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like, oh yeah, that's kind of a good point. So I do think that the show is definitely a rewatch show. You could watch it many times and pick up things or miss things. So but I love that, Dawn.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just noticed, actually, I've started noting these things that I'm calling Canadian oopsies. And I have watched every episode of this show so many times, I've lost track. And it didn't happen until like we just did a rewatch. And I didn't notice until the last time that I watched episode 301 that ooh la la a is in huge letters on the wall of the
A, like E.
Yeah.
Oh, where?
yeah,
in
in the crepe shop that the crepe shop.
Tabitha's in.
Yeah.
You know what? I kind of like that there's like one little Canadian thing as like a state, right?
There's
I
one
like
in
it.
this season too, actually.
Really?
On the in Boyd's office, in the sheriff's office, there's a stamp on the table that says protected protege.
Oh.
So like if this was in America, that would be Spanish.
Right. Oh, I see.
But
interesting. Yeah.
It's in
Little,
Canada.
wow, you guys dive deep. I love this.
Oh yeah.
We look at everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, the debate reminded me of something that has been bothering me about season 3 since it aired. Why was no one guarding the door to Colony House while Boyd was upstairs torturing Elgin? Like, how was it so easy for you to just blow through the door?
Right. Oh yeah. There he was like, watch the door, and
everyone was just sitting around.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's
good job, guys.
Yeah.
Secret.
I think that just shows like Acosta will find a way. Like,
Samantha, thank you so much for being so generous with your time. We loved having you, and congratulations on being the speed round champion.
Yeah, that's wild. I was shocked by that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for having me, and thank you guys so much for just like talking about the show. Like I haven't been on the show since the beginning, but I know how hard it was to like get it off the ground. And in this entertainment landscape, like everything gets canceled. It's so hard to get eyes on the show. So it's like platforms like this with you guys just like stirring debate and talking about it like helps so much. So we love any time that you guys are talking about the show. So thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, we will let you go, and I will send you the links to like the QR code and the link.
Oh, yes. Okay. Perfect.
And yeah, so I'll probably follow up. I'll probably message you like later this evening.
Yeah, perfect. And thanks again for the charity connection and everything. That's so beautiful that you guys do that. Thank you so much.